Here we go.
Hey, all you beautiful people out there. This is Chris and Mike from All Things 3D. We are starting our podcast for Week in Review. Today is Friday, August 15th, 2014, and there is no shortage of news items, is there, Mike?
There never is there? Always
It was
something.
a
In fact, there's going to be so much 3D stuff going around. Our show is going to be passe because it's like, oh, some more news? Geez, you guys are boring. Okay,
There is
go ahead.
so much going on this week, so we will just get right into it and blow through as many as we can. This one I thought was pretty fun. I saw this one yesterday, and it is this artist has his name is Aki Inomata. Sounds Japanese to me. Um,
I'm glad you picked that one because that was one of the ones that I was deciding on. Oh, should I do that or not?
yeah,
Plus, are you at about 150? Zoom up
let's
your
do
screen.
that.
Yeah,
Let's zoom
please.
it up for people that are joining us for the hangout. Yeah, so he is 3D printing hermit crab shells. So he scanned some hermit crab shells from some hermit crabs that had absconded from their shells. He found the shells, scanned them in, and then he accessorized them using Meshmixer, I think is what it says. Something like
And
that.
that's actually one of my product of the week, so that'll be cool.
And like he's got this one here is and he's printing them clear. And he has these. This one has windmills on it. This one's got like a temple on it. So
Did
for
he
those that
identify?
are,
Did he identify the
go
type
ahead.
of material, or were you going to talk about that?
It doesn't say in this article but maybe we'll have him on the program and see if he can tell us more about it. It would
Ah,
be
sounds
interesting to
good.
have him on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll write to him and see if we can come on.
Yeah, so kind of out of the box thinking, I'm always interested in seeing what people are doing, using it in some, using 3D printing in some new way that we haven't thought of. And the hermit crabs, hey,
They need
it may not
homes.
be, they need homes. Yeah, yeah. So, and it's no different than people, someday we might be printing homes for people. I think that, we've had some guests on that are already working on that. So, pretty
That's true.
cool.
And plus, some of our news items, the Chinese seem to be really moving in that area. Um, so, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and lead into the next item, which we've had them on before, and if you remember, that's SketchFab. SketchFab is a website that allows you to import or upload your 3D models so other people can view them. You can't download them, but it's a good place to view for your clients or just to show off your models. And they've had a pretty decent renderer, but it's been a pretty plain. So I saw this in the news and actually contacted them, and we're going to have them on. I was hoping to be our guest crashers, but I guess they're doing an announcement today at SIGGRAPH, so they didn't have time, obviously. But we're going to be doing an interview with them personally, maybe next week or the week after. So that'll be cool. But let me get right into their website that announces it, and we'll kind of talk about it a little bit. What is physically based rendering? Well, this is physical.
Oh.
So essentially, physical based rendering is using actual physics in order to do your rendering. So you're actually
Gravity and all these things,
well,
right?
not much that as photons themselves. How does light actually interact with different materials? And that's an important thing because when you interact with uh, different materials or surfaces, you reflect, you absorb light, so different textures. And currently, you essentially just kind of lay paint down. There's really no differentiation between one color or another or one material or another. It's just based on color. Well, this actually, using another technology, which is, let's see, Algorithmic, is a company that they're working with in order to provide this service. And it's going to be really big in the upcoming year on the Unreal engine as well as the Unity engine. All the 3D engines are going to start using it because it provides very realistic renderings because it works on photon principles, or you may have heard of ray tracing. And ray tracing has been something that's been used in the past, but it's been very CPU intensive. So I'm pretty sure that this company has streamlined the process. Another one is what they call photon emission rendering, which literally you take photons, and some of the programs out there, you can literally see a bunch of little dots forming into your object. So in any case, these you paint or you create materials, which is the textures on your model, that have different properties. So like if it's more metallic, if it's more glossy, these actually become part of the material. And what this company has done, Algorithmic, is provide like a painting tool to paint on these materials. But if you can see
Very
here,
cool.
here's an ad. This is what they normally have on the left-hand side, and then look on the
Right.
right-hand side. I mean, it's going to be night and day. And the cool thing is SketchFab is going to provide that functionality in their
Built
viewer.
in.
Yep. So it'll be,
Wow.
as they said, HTML5 enabled. So
Unbelievable. This generation of web technology we live in is allowing, with the canvas and all these things, allowing to build tools like this into the web without plugins. That
yeah,
is just amazing.
it's really cool. And the other thing that people don't realize, SketchFab has also enabled Oculus Rift capability, so you can use their website to look at things through your Oculus Rift, including the first version DK1 and the DK2. So not only will you have real life models, but then you can view them in 3D space with your Oculus Rift. And so shout out to SketchFab. You can go out to their website and look at some of the demos they have. And what was funny, I did have this up earlier, but if you read it, they have so much traffic because, like I said, they are actually working right now at SeaGraph. So I guess a lot of people have flooded them. So you'll have to come
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
them. But they have a tool set which I downloaded. You can get the India tool set for like $150, which includes like 3 products. So if you're into gaming or want to create photorealistic, very quick material processing, this might be the program of choice. All right, back on to you.
All right. Well, into the next. I guess it's worth mentioning that SciGraph is going on right now, right?
Yeah, I thought it was
So,
SeaGraph.
or
SciGraph. Oh
it's
well.
eGraph, whatever. Or is it coming up?
No, it's going on right now.
It's going on right now. Yeah, I've been seeing some technical previews. I actually haven't seen any talks yet come out. So,
Yeah, in
but
the
it's
past, even if you don't go, at least they were on DVD before. But I'm pretty sure you can probably download them. There's a cost to them. But all
mhm.
of the seminars and talks, you can download them as well as all the papers. So if you're into, 3D type stuff, it's a great show if you can go to
Oh
it. I think
yeah,
it's up in Canada,
yeah,
um,
Vancouver this year or
Vancouver.
right
Right.
now. This
I went to it in Boston, several times in LA. I haven't been in it a few years, but it's a great thing if you want to see what's going on in 3D, and not just 3D printing, but 3D scanning, 3D design, 3D visualization, and obviously printing plays part. But more importantly, they have a lot of conversation and uh, seminars and presentations, and people actually using it as a platform to submit papers. So if you want to
right.
see the cutting edge, this is the place that a lot of
Oh
stuff
yeah,
comes from.
it is. It is a great. I mean, I have never attended the show, or I have not yet. But when it comes back to LA, you and I are there, buddy.
Okay. Okay,
So,
we'll go on to the
uh,
next one.
okay, this one is really close to my heart. I am just enthralled with this news item today. This one is called AirEnergy 3D. It's a new Kickstarter. It's on Kickstarter. It's by a Polish company, Omni 3D, who manufactures little 3D printers, but they also work on their own pet projects. And this one is actually really cool. It's a Helix wind generator desktop that's 3D printed. And so it's on Kickstarter now. So it's an entire box, and it offers 300 watts of power with renewable energy, which is a Helix wind generator.
Oh,
which can
I'm
operate.
so into this.
Oh yeah, I am so on board with this. This is like this is like so cool. So it's not a big one, so it's not a household, like not for your whole house, but it's supplemental, so it's enough to charge your phone, your laptop, and their Kickstarter just went live. So here's the studio. This is the people working in Omni 3D. It's a Polish company, and you can watch the video here. This article's on 3Ders, but you can check out their Kickstarter by going to Kickstarter and searching AirEnergy 3D. So it's 3D printed, it's open source, it's mobile, it's cool. So 300 watts of power. They haven't met their goal quite yet.
Well, obviously we'll help them out with that.
Yeah. So the coolest part is you to pledge. You don't even have to. They don't have to even order a real physical unit. They're planning on open sourcing the whole thing. So if you're a donor or not, if you just want to contribute to the project a couple bucks, you can do that. And then when they meet their goal, they'll release the plans, and you can build one yourself if you have a 3D printer. So I am really looking forward to this project. Hopefully they hit their mark, because I think projects like this are just making the world a better place, one little wind turbine at a time.
Well, I'm all into it. I was thinking about putting one in my backyard because we have like a channel, even though, well, I'm in Morro Bay, so sunlight isn't what we get all the time of the year. As you know, Chris, we get a lot of fog. So I'm thinking, what else? Well, we've got this nice channel or breeze that comes through, so I was thinking of doing something like this. But something like this would be cool. Yeah, you could put little LEDs on it, so when it spins at night, it could be kind of a fun little thing. And they're small enough you could put them in multiple locations. It could be the next wind chime, and actually.
It really, yeah. I mean, like, I mean, for me, don't tell my girlfriend's mom this, but I can't stand wind chimes. They just drive me nuts, because they, I don't mind the water. I like listening to waterfalls, and some wind chimes not so bad, but I'm not a big wind chime fan. They just make noise. I'm trying to take a nap. Just shut up already. But wind turbines, I'm on board with. I like your idea. Replace the wind chime with wind turbines. Yep. And these Helix ones are cool because they can operate at a much lower wind speed and actually generate power.
Exactly.
With the traditional, so they're kind of a newer design. Actually, there's a big company somewhere up in Silicon Valley that kind of started this whole Helix thing. At least they were the first one that I knew about. And the coolest part is, traditional wind generators, they require quite a bit of wind to actually get up and going. But these ones can just be spinning all the time, generating a little bit of power, and then they can really get cooking. And they're quieter.
Well, I can see this moving forward. I kind of like the idea. Okay, so on to my next item. It's called Animal Organization is 3D Printing a Life-Size Elephant. And another thing in this particular thing that came to my attention was not only are they printing a life-size elephant, but they're using the Ultimaker. And we've had Eric on several times, who is the co-founder of Ultimaker, and also Umagine. And great guy. He's going to be back on, I guess, was it the week after next for our 3D in education. But I thought it was kind of neat. They're not just using one and printing out the parts piecemeal. They are using 5 of them.
Yeah, I like it. I was reading this.
And notice they're upside down. So that's kind of unique. And then they've got a new build platform down on the bottom. I don't know if you can see.
And do you know why they're upside down? Just cause, or what's the point of being?
Yeah, I don't. I think actually I don't. Oh, their vertical lift has been replaced with this gantry on the bottom. So the XY is still controlled by the Ultimaker, but the vertical has been supplemented with this platform, and it moves down. So these are probably, Yeah. So this portion here actually moves, and here's your fixed platform on the bottom. So they just turned them upside down, and I guess maybe even reversed. It doesn't show, but the extruder, but they've replaced the vertical, so it's literally using the whole XY parameter here in order to create the parts here. So that's kind of a weird way to do it, but I'm assuming, yeah, they sliced it. Let's see, vertically, so that you had, and then they're just printing out each of those pieces, and I guess they'll just glue them together. But yeah, I thought that was kind of neat. But again, it's our friends from the Netherlands with their Ultimaker. And, now this seems like their original model, not their Ultimaker 2, Ultimaker 2, but I guess there's still a few out there. But the good thing about it is that you can donate to them, and actually, I don't know if you get your initials, but there's some indication that you played a part in creating this for the animal organization. So really cool, and again, something to bring attention to the world of animals. And yeah, it's called the World Elephant Day, which is August 12th, which it already passed. Yeah, actually, it's through the 12th through the 30th. So go on out, campaign website will give you more information on pledging. So if you're into animals like we are, might be a good place to go out to. Okay, on to the next item.
All right. Well, my next item, pretty exciting news, just showing the insane growth rate that's going on, just another sign of this incredible time we live in. Well, I'm not doing that right. Let's bring up this one here. 3D Systems announces a filament manufacturing facility in Ohio and a 200,000 square foot expansion in South Carolina. So 3D Systems, kind of the big dog. They are opening a 30,000+ square foot filament manufacturer in Ohio, and also expanding their operation so that they can go online with their EcoCycle Cube, which we talked about a few weeks ago. So they are ramping up. So yeah, they're planning on being fully operational in the first quarter of 2015. So that's pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, they've got to move forward with something. I don't know. We talked last week about Stratasys meeting and exceeding their financial goals. 3D Systems, on the other hand, did not, and they kind of took a hit in the stock market. So it's good to see that they're back in the news. The other issue is they better do something, because one of the huge, I wouldn't say deficits, but complaints about the Cube 3D printers is that you're locked into their system. And from what I heard, they're somewhat pricey. So this
proprietary materials.
Exactly. So having more plants produce their materials hopefully will push down the price or make them more available, and maybe draw more people to their printers. Yeah, we're not big fans of proprietary cartridge systems. You have to deal with them day in and day out with your Fortis 250.
The Stratasys, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, granted, they do have some good reasons behind, at least for my Fortis. One of them, the good reason that they have is quality assurance. Their QA on the material, I have never had a problem with the Stratasys material at all. I mean, it just prints all day long, every time. The not so good reason is that they say it could cause some sort of warranty issue, which I don't really see how that could be, because I mean, it's really simple design. But I guess, if you had some difference, variation in the width of the material as it passes through all the way up through the feed system, you could cause some jamming, I guess. So, I think most of it is to protect their own, kind of pockets. But yeah, so I'm not a big fan of the proprietary material, but as you can see, proprietary material probably would have been good. I got my row stock all torn apart. I had some bad filament yesterday. I won't mention any names.
Is it something I need to be aware of? Maybe we can talk about it.
Yeah, you and me should talk about it. It could or could not have been the material. It also could have been the resistor thermistor of the head. It could have been a J head. I get my J heads for the most part off eBay, and
Yeah.
this one started printing really good. Yesterday I had it printing really high quality. Look, I mean, like,
Yeah,
look
that's
at
great.
these. Look at these overhangs. Look at those overhangs. I
Yeah,
mean,
that looks really good.
no support, just unbelievable. And then I changed material, same manufacturer, different color, and it was printing kind of funky. And then I went home for the night. Came in this morning, the head was blown apart. So I don't know. It was
Yeah, you've had several problems with that J head. You've gone through what, 3 of them now?
oh I way more than that. J
Hmm.
heads. Oh,
Yeah.
I've gone through about 10 of those things. I print quite a bit though, so yeah, and when you what I typically see a problem is when you're cycling between nylon and ABS or PLA and nylon. So when you're going to these materials that require a high heat temp, there's still some residual material probably in the head. Then you're passing a low temp material through the head, and what happens is it starts to get clogged essentially because it hasn't fully burned out all of the residual the material from the high temp material.
Yeah, and I've experienced that as well. And one of the things that I do is after every job, especially if I don't go right into a new job, I pull it out and either burn it out or clean it out before starting a new job. The Ultimaker, which is a good printer, I had some problems in that area, and I
Yeah.
contributed to leaving it in over a few days and then starting up a new job. And yeah, I stopped doing that, and that seems to have solved that problem. But yeah, like you
Awesome.
said, you're printing when, a lot with yours, but I'm wondering too, like you said, if you're getting these on eBay and maybe in all.
So yeah, so I'm trying a new one, which is a JHead compatible E3D style all metal. So it's compatible with the 1.75 millimeter. They're now on eBay. There's some decent manufacturers out there. They look even American made, and they're all metal. So which is great because then you can just pop if you have a problem, a jam in the it's usually in the nozzle, so you can just pop the nozzle out and service it that way without having to disassemble your whole unit. And it's essentially the same shape as the original J-head, which is that's what my machine is set up for. So it's nice because I ordered when the all metal 3D or the all metal head started coming out. I bought one, but it came to find out that it only ran 3 millimeter filament, and
Yeah.
it wasn't compatible with a J-head style print. So I
So you
kind of
found
still
one
have it in the
now.
box.
Cool. So why don't
There are some manufacturers out there now.
well, make sure you send me a link to that, and I'll make sure it's in the
Definitely.
show notes. Okay.
Yeah, and I
Well,
mean for $35 shipped, you can have the thing, so
no, that's a good price, and yeah, so I'll move forward. So moving on to my next item, this takes us away from the plastic world and into the world of fabric. It appears that Disney Research has invented a 3D printer that can print teddy bears. Well, in reality, it can print woolen material, and if you notice here, it looks like you've got a needle and thread. Looks like a 3D piece that was created, and it allows you with a program to create the stitching. Isn't that kind of funny? It still looks like your standard G-code assembly, so I have a feeling it's very similar. And then here's a little video of it in operation. Um, so there you go. Uh, so
Whoa.
so it's really neat what you can do now. You can, yeah, okay. Um, there you go.
it's it's 3D printing fabric or like a little, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense. Essentially, embroidery is nothing more than layering thread upon thread upon thread. So why not automate the process? I mean, that's pretty much what. So I don't think your seamstresses will appreciate this. That one more thing, knocking them off the block. But no, there's actually been some robotic functionality like this but you pay a lot of money for it. So this is kind of neat that you can actually create one. I don't know if the whole thing is custom or just the what would I guess replace the extruder. So here they're going through the process. Uh, so is that a proprietary piece of software? What are they? Oh, it's Repetier.
Yeah, Repetier, the new, and it's worth mentioning, unbelievable, the new Repetier
So you've been
1.0.
using it?
Oh my gosh, that is just great that they have Cura built in now. So rather than have to switch fully, because I like Repetier, the interface, but Cura Slicer, I mean, there's just nothing that beats it as far as a slicer for
So
generating your G code. As far as speed, I mean, it's speed and not only speed, but actual slicing capability. It's just unbeatable. It really is. There's nothing out there. Even my professional grade FDM software can't slice like Cura does. Cura is just unreal. It's
yeah,
just a great piece of software.
well, I actually use the product Cura and love it, so I'll have to try Repetier because one of the disadvantages it doesn't give. Well, you can get at things, but just like the MakerBot, you have to go into a text file and make some modifications that way. So I'll try Repetier based upon
It's the
your
best of all
impression
worlds,
of it.
man. I've been having great luck with it. It's and the Repetier 1.0, the last release I had, I think, was 0.95. It was still in their beta or alpha, and now this is just so much more polished. The interface is just really a lot nicer, and yeah, so pretty cool.
You see what he's creating? He's creating amateurs for the teddy bear. It's kind of fun. Okay,
That's so
so
awesome.
so now we're on to our products of the week. That was kind of our three news items, unless you have one more. We got
Okay.
all yours, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and let's see. I guess I can go into mine. Well, as you mentioned earlier in our show, you brought up a product called Meshmixer. And Meshmixers has been around, almost a year now. And it's gone through, like many things, iterations, and they finally have come out with a new version on the 11th, which was just earlier this week. And it adds some new features. Let's see where's it at? Here we go. If you're using it already, it's added some new menu reorganization. It actually adds inside the program, and I'll bounce to it real quick to the actual program itself. And I'm going to use our friend Brad as an example here. One thing that I found out, because I've never used color textures. Let's see if I can get to it. Uh, where is his screen? That's odd. Oh, here he is. Okay. Hmm. Give me a moment here to figure out.
No problem. I will. You want me to jump right in with
Yeah,
mine?
go ahead and jump. Oh, I got it. I'm
You
there.
got it.
Yeah. Okay. Huh. For some reason, it's not showing his screen though. Maybe it's because it's a 3D.
Ah, there we go. I'm
Oh, can
seeing
you?
it.
Okay.
I,
So there's our friend Brad. Last night
oh
before he
no,
left. Oh.
I see the actual window, but I don't see his model.
Well, I'll just do a screen capture real quick and then go to that screen and see if. Hang on. Okay, here you go. Just so that you can see Brad. So can you see Brad now? So he came
No.
by.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There.
There we go. Yeah, I can see
So,
it. Wow.
so using It Sees 3D, we scanned him, and I kind of cropped to his head, so he's kind of like a bobblehead, a bubblehead.
Yeah.
But he had his
Wow.
glasses
Look at the
on.
clarity of that. That is just
Yeah, so
unbelievable.
if you want great textures using the structure sensor or the iSense, there's nothing that beats Itzy's 3D, so give them props. And actually, we did an interview with him, actually I did, on Tuesday. He's from Russia, so it was kind of an interesting talk
Russia.
for him.
Comrade.
Yeah. Haha.
What was his name?
His name is Victor, and I can't remember, I don't.
Comrade Victor.
Yeah. But interesting guy. Like you said, you can listen to the podcast. They're actually a company who do robotics vision, who obviously have been working with color, and they decided to use the structure sensor. They're trying to move more into mobile 3D applications, so that's one of the reasons they created it. They got some ideas coming up, and we've talked about 4eyes, improving the mesh portion of it, which is kind of like the old days. The meshes aren't really good. It's more like dough, but the textures are great. So we're kind of collaborating in order to provide the best of both worlds. So we'll see where that goes. I think you have a model as well, don't you, Chris? Did you get your model?
I haven't yet. I'll have to.
I
I
sent you an
went
email.
digging. Yeah, I went digging for it, and I couldn't come up with it. So maybe I'll have you
Well,
resend it along.
I will do
But
that.
yeah. So I'm going to move into my product of the week.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So this is kind of my tip too of the week. Is for those of you that are on Brad. Speaking of Brad, he's got this little RP here. So one of the key ingredients is a cheap build vat. One of the advantages of this little open source SLA printer is the build vat is a petri dish. The petri dish, we're finding out we need to like kind of come up with some sort of manufacturing plan. But most of these build vats have a silicone like a adhesive on the bottom. But this we found is working the best of anything, which is a solar. It's meant for solar panels, for encapsulating solar panels. It's essentially Sylgard 184 it's a Dow product, but this is a small kind of $34 solution, and you only use a little tiny fraction of a bottle to coat your vat. But when you coat the bottom of your vat, it cures in about 4 hours, and then you have this nice smooth, bubble-free. Breakaway, it's a silicone coating for the bottom of your vat, so it works real well. I coated a bunch of vats yesterday. I've worked with some vats coated in it now for the last few weeks, and it works a heck of a lot better than the other things I've seen out there. It's real level, optically clear, because it's designed for solar panels, and it releases the resin from the vat really easily, so it works really well with the SLA printing. So anybody out there that wants to go check it out, you can go to shop.mlsolar.com and click on Sylgard. You're looking for encapsulation kits, Sylgard. So for $34, you can have a real easy vat solution.
And speaking of that, if you notice, I have a close-up of what he was talking about. This is the petri dish of the little RP. Well, Brad was over last night. He came to visit me and dropped off my version of it. As you can see here, let's see, I need to zoom out a little bit. Where are we at?
Yeah.
But my version of the little RP, and you know, I'll be your, what's her name, Vanna White, so you can kind of talk over me as I'm showing the different parts.
So. Yeah, so these parts here, what he's pointing at here, up. So this is what's referred to as a bottom-up printer, and so it actually lifts the model out of the resin bath. So you don't need very much resin. You just need a little amount, maybe even as little as 10 milliliters, 20 milliliters of material in that little petri dish, and the tilt mechanism is built in on the same motor driver, which is really smart design. There's a mirror down at the bottom that reflects the image from the projector, that the projector bolts on to those red screws where Mike's left them, and that's what Mike's Vanna Whiting for us. And that projects the image to the mirror and then up onto the build vat, into the build vat. There's an aluminum extrusion that's basically that's your build tray that dunks into the vat. And so the image actually reflects, and it's a real aluminum they found is a really good build surface because the material can adhere, has a higher adhesion rate than obviously the silicone, and so you know, it adheres really well. It's real flat, cheap is another thing. So manufacturing, you can have multiple build trays. The same goes with the Petri dish. It's a real cheap alternative. So real great build medium
Yeah,
we're finding.
and it looks like this is a standard, what do you want to call it, rectangular tubing that he's just cut into sections to use as his build plate. So,
Right.
yeah, very, as he calls it, a simple design but elegant. And as we've already mentioned, literally, it's just something that moves the build tray on a vertical plane, and then looks like we've got somebody chatting with us.
That's me.
Oh, but so it moves on a vertical plane here, uses a standard NEMA 17 stepper. Let's see if I can. Here, that. There we go. NEMA 17 stepper on a worm gear, but he uses something a little, because Brad's kind of anal. He decided to use a different tracking system that is a little more robust, so the accuracy, in my opinion, is better. But his models speak for themselves. So again, if you haven't looked at his Kickstarter, go ahead and move in. Something like a lot of printers don't show you, but we have the opportunity to show you, and then that's the back, because this is where they normally put all the goodies. He has it currently exposed, which makes sense. He's got heat sinks on the drivers for the stepper motor. As Chris said, this actually has two stepper motors. It has the upper one for the Z, and then, as he said, there's a tilt bed, and this is what the bottom one does. And these are both controlled. What's the name of the software that he's working with? So give him a shout out as well, Steve Hernandez of...
Oh yeah, from Creation Workshop. Great piece of software. I mean, just an unbelievable contribution to the open source, SLA community. Even FDM. I mean, his software will drive FDM or FFF machines as well. So yeah, Steve, big shout out to him. He's just done a tremendous job with his software.
Yep, and so if you buy the little RP, I think Brad is committing some of the money to Steve, but if not, you might want to do a donation if you buy one of these, or if you're building your own. Great piece of software to work with, and we have an interview that we did with him a couple of weeks back as well. So
Awesome.
Anything else you want me to Vanna White for you?
I think we did a great job today, and just want to wrap things up here.
Yeah, actually, I've got one more item, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
Continuation to my 4 eyes. One of the things that came up, let me go to the screen first. Okay. One of the things that came up in my design is that my original design had the RGB extension lens hanging off the side of it here. But the problem is that the field of view of the lens on the iPad Mini Retina or the iPad Air is so large that I'd actually have to push it back further, so that kind of took it out of its 13 millimeter sweet spot that you want to keep the structure lenses to the RGB or the color portion. So I thought I'd just build it on the bottom here, and that way we could avoid anything blocking it up here and thinned it out up here. So that's going to be the next iteration of the 4 eyes design and RGB extension.
Very cool.
So on that, I think that kind of takes care of it for today, right, Chris?
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks again to Mike and all our listeners and all these great contributors of content. 3ders.org. Obviously, you can check us out at All Things 3D, our YouTube channel. You can watch these podcasts live, or what's our website?
Yep, and thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. And I don't know if we've got any interviews coming up, but we got the big one coming up in 2 weeks, and we also have our Central Coast 3D user group meeting next Wednesday, so if you're down on the Central Coast, come on and join us. We've got free pizza.
Sands Inn, Monterey Street, San Luis Obispo, 6 o'clock p.m. on Wednesday. which is the 20th of August. So we'll see you there.
All right.
Until next time.
Bye.